We are back to our worksheet now, and for part B, we are asked, write the key signature and minor scale in whole notes indicate half steps with a V. The first scale we're asked is A harmonic minor. So we need to know the key signature for the scale. The key signature for A minor is no sharps and no flats, just like C major. So we can write our scale in whole notes. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, like that. It tells us here that we want the A harmonic minor scale, so to create that form of A minor, we're going to put a sharp on scale degree 7, raising scale degree 7, and finally indicate half steps with the V. Half steps in the harmonic minor scale occur between scale degree 2 and 3, also between 5 and 6, and also between 7 and coming back to scale degree 1. So there are 3 half steps in the harmonic minor scale. So let's go to another sheet of paper to talk about the thinking that goes into this. So now we are on to minor scales. We're looking here at the A minor scale, and the first thing that we want to discuss is the sound of them. Now in class, one way we demonstrate this is to sing Row, Row Your Boat in major. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. And then sing it again in minor. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Why do those sound different? Why does a minor scale sound with such a different mood from the major scale? Well, the technical reason is it's got a different sequence of whole and half steps. Let's see what that is. We know in the major scale we had whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. In the minor scale, let's just look at each one of these steps. A to B is a whole step. B to C is half step. C to D, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So we have whole, half, whole, half, whole. So the half steps fall in different places, and that gives the minor scale its characteristic sound. Right at the very bottom in the first 3 notes, do, re, mi, we can hear that we're in a minor key. It sounds so very different from, that would be major. Very characteristic of the minor scale is this half step right here between scale degree 5 and 6. Composers love to go back and forth between 5 and 6 in minor. It's so expressive. Now, on to our written work. How do we make a minor scale out of a major scale? To make a minor scale from a major scale is very simple. We just start on scale degree 6. Here we're looking at the C major scale we're very familiar with. We know this is scale degree 1. To make this into a minor scale, we need to find scale degree 6, which is going to be this A right here. Let's label it. And let's extend the C major scale down. At the beginning, we'll put on a couple of lower notes, but this gets us down to a lower 6 here, so we can now run the scale from 6 to 6. So we start on 6 and we run the scale from 6 to 6 and we get minor. These are the same notes, it's all the white notes on the keyboard, same notes as in the C major scale, but we're just running 6 to 6. And minor is the result. Let's do this in another key. Maybe we'll try this in D major. We are going to take the D major scale and turn it into a minor scale. There it is. We just have to locate scale degree 6, which is now this B. Extend the scale down here a little bit, 2 more notes, So we have scale degree 6 on the bottom. We get the B minor scale. It has the same notes in it as the D major scale, but by starting on 6, we get this sequence of whole and half steps. You can confirm that yourself looking at B to C sharp to D. The whole and half steps will fall in exactly the same places in the B minor scale as they did in the A minor scale. That's why it has that characteristic sound. So it's interesting that these scales are paired this way. Here we started with C major, keeping the same key signature. We used a different tonic and we got the A minor scale. C and A are a pair of scales. They're called relative major and minor. Here we started with the D major scale, keeping the same key signature, and using a different tonic, we got the B minor scale. So D major and B minor are relative major and minor. Now, of course, when we go into the key of B minor, we're no longer going to call tonic scale degree 6. We renumber it, so I can just erase. We are now going to call B scale degree 1 and label everything that way. What if we want to form a minor scale that has the same tonic as the major scale we're starting with? Okay, we'll work down here just a little bit lower on the page. And once again, we've got the good old C major scale. And we're going to keep the same tonic. We want to make a C minor scale out of the C major scale. So we're going to have to change the key signature here. And what we do to make this scale minor is add 3 flats. So whatever the key signature is here, we're going to add 3 flats to it, and we get a minor scale. So starting with nothing, we add B, E, and A flats, and this results in the C minor scale. Now the way this works, of course, we can confirm this. C to D is a whole step. D to E flat. See, this E has been lowered by something in the key signature, so now we get the half step there. E flat to F is a whole step. That's why a minor scale sounds like a minor scale. It's because the half steps are falling in a new place. Let's do this in another key. Say we start with the D major scale, and we want to turn that into a D minor scale. We're going to keep the same tonic. We're not going to run from 6 to 6. We want to stay with 1 to 1, but change the key signature. So we add 3 flats, and the arithmetic looks like this. 2 sharps, which is what we have in the key signature, plus 3 flats. A flat cancels a sharp, so we end up with 1 flat. So now we have 1 flat in the key signature. And we're going to find D, E, F natural, G, A, B flat, C, D. We've produced the exact sound of the minor scale that we started with up here. Let's do even one more. Say we start with something that already has flats in it, like the B flat major scale. If we add 3 flats to the 2 flats we have here, we're going to have 5. So B, E, A, D, G. That's the 5 flat key signature. And the B flat minor scale results. The extra 3 flats lower the tones of the scale in just the right places to move our half steps where we want them to create a minor scale. So let's go just a little bit further with this. By adding 3 flats to the key signature, we took a B flat major scale, capital B with a flat, and transformed it into a B flat minor scale. Normally minor scales are designated with a small letter, so there's B flat major turned into B flat minor when we added 3 flats. Earlier, up higher on the page, we had taken the C scale, and by running it 6 to 6, we turned it into A minor. And I have two terms to give you now. The terms are relative major and minor. That's a pair of keys that relate like this, the way C and A relate. C major and A minor are relative major and minor. The next term is parallel major and minor, which relate in this way, the way B flat major and B flat minor relate to each other. So let me make a little chart. So here we are. This says relative major and minor. This says parallel major and minor. You'll get used to this shorthand. Two parallel lines like that mean we're talking about parallel major and minor. Relative major and minor keys have the same key signature, but they have different tonics. That's like C major and A minor. Same key signature, as we saw, but different tonics. By going from 6 to 6, we move tonic to A. The parallel major and minor keys will have different key signatures because we've added 3 flats to the major key to get the minor key, and we did that so we could keep the same tonic. One of the things you're going to have to do on the worksheet that we're doing now in the first week is to answer questions about relative and parallel major and minor. So let's look at a couple keys here. Okay, so now we have some pairs of keys here. We have F major and F minor, G major and G minor, A major and F sharp minor. So let's discuss whether these pairs are relative major and minor or whether they're parallel major and minor. Okay, let's look at F major and F minor. What's the same about these two keys? Well, tonic is the same, F, F, and this arrow just indicates the scale is going up through the octave from F to the F an octave higher. So the same tonic, but different key signatures, right? So same tonic, different key signatures. That means this is parallel major and minor. So F and F, same tonic. And to get from F major to F minor, what did we do? Well, we can see we added 3 flats to the key signature. How about this pair, G major and G minor? As G major and minor have the same tonic, G to G here, G to G there, so same tonic, different key signature. How did we get from G major with 1 sharp to having 2 flats? Well, we added 3 flats to the key signature. One flat canceled the sharp, and then the other 2 were left, so we have B flat and E flat. So note that whenever you have 2 flats in the key signature, they're going to be B flat and E flat, the first 2 flats in our order of flats. Finally, here's a pair of keys, A major and F sharp minor. Is this parallel or is this relative major and minor? Well, it looks like we have different tonics, A major, A in this case, and F sharp in that case, and the key signature stays the same through both scales. So, different tonic, same key signature. These are relative major and minor scales. Just like when we looked at C major and A minor at the beginning of all this, those also were relative major and minor. One last thing I have to tell you about minor scales, and that is the form we've been working with, that is the form that you get by going 6 to 6 or adding 3 flats to a major scale, is called the natural form of the minor scale. And here's the A natural minor scale. That's exactly what we just had. There are 2 ways of modifying this scale that composers like to use. The first modification is called the harmonic minor scale. And to get that, all you do is raise the 7th degree of the natural minor scale. So we've made only 1 change in the scale from here to there, and you can see it right there. We raised scale degree 7 to create a leading tone. LT means a leading tone, and that is useful in creating chords to make harmony in a minor key. And also in some melodic figures, it's really nice to have a leading tone that can resolve to tonic. So the harmonic form of the scale sounds like this. Let's locate where the half steps are in this scale. A to B is a whole step. B to C is half step. These are whole steps. And we didn't change any of this, so there's that nice half step between scale degree 5 and 6. And we created a half step here by sharping the G to get a leading tone going to A. That leaves kind of a gap right here. This F to G sharp is not a whole step. It's something bigger than that. And we're going to learn in our next unit when we study intervals that the actual name of that from F to G sharp is the augmented second. A2 means augmented second. You can also think of this as a step and a half or 1.5 step little interval here. And it's actually a small leap. This is the only scale that we're going to study in this course that has an interval in it that's not a whole or a half step. So let's listen to that again and concentrate on the top 4 notes of the scale. So up at the top there, it's kind of exotic sounding. It's different sounding because of this little leap here, the step and a half from F to G sharp. Now, composers created this form of the scale because they wanted to have the leading tone resolution from the G sharp to the A, which is not present in the natural form of the scale. But for melodic purposes, maybe a little bit bothered by having this awkward interval in the scale all the time. So they began using even a third form of the scale called the melodic minor scale. And to form this variation, we raise the 6th and the 7th degree of the scale when we're ascending and return the scale to its natural form when we're descending. As we go up, A, B, C, we find that the augmented second here is gone because we raised F sharp, and that gives us whole steps between E and F sharp and G sharp, and then we keep the half step there. So we're still able to have the leading tone at the top, but it's not approached by the augmented second. It's approached with a series of whole steps. And then on the way back down the scale, it's very simple. It just goes back to the natural form. Those are the 3 forms of the minor scale. Let's make one more melodic minor scale just to see what happens with the accidentals in another key. So can you think through this with me? If we have 2 flats in the key signature, what minor key are we going to have? Well, the way I might think of it is, I know that the major key that goes with 2 flats is B flat major, so the minor key that has 2 flats is going to be the one that goes from 6 to 6, starting with the B flat major scale. So what's scale degree 6 of B flat major? It's G. So we're now going to write a G melodic minor scale. So this gives us something to work with. We have the natural minor scale going up and back down. So now we're going to follow our recipe here, raise 6 and 7 ascending, return to natural form descending. So where are 6 and 7? Okay, here's 6 and 7. The reason I'm showing you this is so we see that sometimes different accidentals are needed to raise a note a half step, and it's not always a sharp. So what is scale degree 6? Well, since there's a E flat in the key signature, that note is E flat, and to raise it, we're going to put a natural on it. Scale degree 7, looking at the key signature, is F natural, so to raise this one, we do use a sharp. Okay, so now we have our ascending form of the scale complete. For the descending, we just return this back to the form it was in, so that F is going to revert to F natural, and the E is going to revert to E flat, and the scale sounds like this.